You guys are here. All right, so let's get started. Thanks everybody for joining our college softball players panel and CSE. So we're going to learn some things about these three college players and then also about CSE. Just by way of introduction, my name is Joyce Wellhafer. I'm a senior recruiting coach here at NCSA for a while, for 17 years. I love working with families about the recruiting. Before I came to NCSA, I was a college coach and I spent 20 years coaching a couple Division I schools, Division II and NAIA. And back in the day, I'm a little older, so I was able to play two sports in college. I played both basketball and softball, and then played a little semi-pro um, basketball in Vienna, Austria. So sports has been great. Love that I've been able to stick with it. I grew up in Wisconsin, and I'm currently in the Chicago area. But I just look back and just see the path that I took. It was all through sports and with helping others. It's just been a huge blessing for me to continue in this role and use my experiences from all those years. And so I love passing this on, and I love stories of how people, I look at my own story, a farm kid from Wisconsin with not much opportunity back in those days, and just love to hear everybody's story. And that's what we're going to do tonight with these three. And they're going to talk about their recruiting stories. They're going to talk about just how they balance things in college. And so I think it'll be helpful for you guys as you are looking to do that same. And so I'm going to let them introduce themselves. And these are our three that are on here. So I think I did alphabetically somehow, some way, maybe last name. But Addie, if you will start us off, be a leadoff hitter here. I know you're a power hitter, but you can do leadoff here tonight.
Okay. My name is Addison Barnard. I am from the Nebraska area. I am a senior outfielder at Wichita State. Yeah.
And what are you studying, Addie? I guess that would be another thing that would be helpful.
Yeah. So I'm studying health science, and then my plan is to apply to nursing school in March, so next month, and see where things go from there.
And is it that you originally wanted to be in nursing school, or like did it prevent, or was it a conflict with playing softball?
Yeah, so I've always kind of been interested in nursing. My mom, she's a midwife, and so I've always kind of been around it. Then softball kind of usually people can go, start their nursing career like right away. And so softball did have an effect on that. And so kind of chose a different path, and I was gonna maybe do like a PA, something still in the medical field. And then I figured out this year that that's just not what I wanted to do. And so I'm gonna try and do an Excel program. And I got my CNA over break, so
Oh,
where
wow.
that takes me.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Great to hear that. And then Hannah.
Hi, my name is Hannah Gammill. I play softball at Arkansas. I'm a third baseman. I'm also a senior, and I'm from BB, Arkansas, so I'm a hometown native. Um, and I'm studying social work, so I'm graduating with my BSW in May, and I've currently applied to grad school. So I've gotten into Kentucky for social work, and I'm currently waiting to hear back from Arkansas. So helping people is something that I love doing. I think that's kind of the natural thing behind social work is the role of like helping people. I aspire to do counseling, so one-on-one with 8 people that are 18 and older. So we will see where that takes me. But
Very cool. And I see you got a little puppy or something
her name
there,
is
huh? Or
Piper.
growing. Okay. All right. Cool. Thanks, Hannah. That's great. And then Kaley Mudge. Mudge, as they call you, right?
Yeah, usually go by my last name. So my name is Kaley Mudge. I'm a senior outfielder on the Florida State softball team. I'm from Winter Springs, Florida, and I actually graduated with exercise physiology degree last spring. And I'm just like Addie, I'm planning to go to nursing school. I just applied a couple weeks ago to Florida State Nursing School. So waiting to hear back to see if I get in.
And was that your intent from the get-go, Mudge, to do nursing?
I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field. Kind of deciding between athletic training first because I thought I wanted to be an athletic trainer. Kind of went a different route, seeing if I wanted to be PA or nurse. And my cousin has been a nurse for the past 7 years, so really just picking her brain the last couple of years. I feel like that's something that I really want to do. So that's what I'm pursuing.
Okay, very cool. All right, well, I got a couple things on here and we'll just take one at a time and and go from there. And then we're going to let Dayton talk about CSE in the middle here. And then we'll go back to a couple more questions is the game plan. Okay. And so I've split it up like this is a recruiting so that they can get a feel for how your recruiting process went. And then we'll talk more about your balancing your college life, so to say. So, and you guys can decide who wants to go, but just like maybe these two that are the first ones, when did you start recruiting process and what factors, went into how you decided? Like Hannah, you stayed in the same state. Whereas I don't know, Mudge, if you're from there but if you want to do that, talk about these first two. Who wants to go? Who wants to?
I'll go.
Hannah? Yeah.
Okay, so I originally started being recruited in kind of my 9th and 10th grade year. This was before the rule came in where you had to be however old you have to be. And so I knew that from the get-go, of course, if I ever got an offer from Arkansas, that's where I wanted to go. So I think it's really important that you kind of have a top 5 schools of where you want to go. And also, schooling is important. Of course, like we're coming to play softball, but school is the utmost importance, I think. And so finding a right fit with the coaching staff and what they allow for what you want to do. So Coach Seifel at Arkansas, for instance, we had a girl that went through the nursing program and they were really open to it. So I think finding your fit of where they allow you to, I've heard that some coaches don't necessarily want their kids going through nursing because it interferes, which is totally understandable. So I think finding that fit, but also like, people say where you feel most at home. So I knew that I wanted to stay in state because I am a home girl. I love my family. Of course, everyone loves their family. They want to stay close to home, but that was really important for me. And so I think having that is super important, and also knowing how you fit with the coaches and how you fit with the players. Whenever I came here, the coaches made me feel like family. So I knew that that's where I wanted to be. So kind of finding your values and what's important to you and how the players and the coaches kind of make that out to be for you. So
Good. Awesome.
Oh, I can go. So I also started getting recruited kind of like my sophomore year of high school. And I really had no idea. I kind of wanted to stay in state. But I just kind of started going to some camps and then somehow ended up at Wichita State. I didn't really know much about them at all. But as soon as I walked on campus, it felt like it wasn't different from Nebraska and it wasn't too far away from home. It was still drivable. And that was a big thing for me too, because throughout my career, I want my family to be able to come to most things and, make quick trips home. So that was really important for me too. And then coaching staff was huge. Sometimes it's easy to be kind of nervous and scared to talk to like the coaching staff. But as soon as I talked to Coach B and Coach E, I just knew right away that I could be personable. And if I was having problems within, maybe outside of softball, I could definitely talk to them about it. And just knowing that, they were so confident in me and knowing I could play at that level, that was huge for me. And so I honestly only went on one visit, and then they kind of gave me a time frame when I decided to commit. And so I was like, well, I don't really know much and I'm really young, but here we go. So that's kind of how I got there.
And Addie, you got your sister there now as a freshman, right?
Yeah, I do.
And
Yeah.
how did that decide, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely been, it's really nice. I have a piece of home, you know, while I'm playing softball. It's also a little difficult because it's hard to draw the line where I'm gonna be a teammate and where I'm gonna be, I don't want to be too hard on her just because I'm her sister, but I expect so much out of her. So, but it's been really well because like, I've just been, if she gets nervous or has questions, she's able to go right straight to me. So that's been really cool. I think a big part of her getting recruited to Wichita State, she just got to know the coaches as she came to watch my games. And she knew that she could count on me to, make her feel comfortable. So that's been really cool.
Very nice. All right, Mudge.
Same as Hannah, I got recruited, actually starting 8th grade is when I started getting recruited, going to camps. I'd say the summer going into high school was when I received my first offer. So obviously like not able to do that anymore, but I got recruited really early. Florida State was always a dream school for me, but at that time it was still so early. I didn't really think that I was gonna make it here. I just kind of based off of like how I played and stuff, like a smaller hitter, not the big power hitter, kind of a crafty little player. Didn't have my hopes set super high, but just really wanted to work hard to see where I could get. And I got my first offer from a smaller D1 school, so I think that kind of persuaded my decision of like, oh, maybe I'm not going to be a Power 5 kid, and that's okay. And Florida State actually started looking at me that summer. We had come up here to Tallahassee to play a tournament and did like a small team clinic at Florida State, and that was when they really started getting interest in me, and I was obviously taken away by that, being 8th grader going into high school, like just did not expect it at all. And so that was obviously really, really great for me because it started to become more of a reality. And then I took a couple unofficial visits, got offered by Florida State November of my freshman year, and then I committed February of my freshman year of high school. So everything happened really fast for me. Again, like Florida State was my dream school. Like there's just a feeling that I can't really describe. Like when you step on the campus, like it just feels like home. I feel like you hear a lot of current college players talk about that. They step on their college campus and it just like feels like home. It's just a feeling. It's hard to describe. But Florida State was like everything that I wanted. I think there's so many factors that my travel coach had taught me about. We had made a list of like our top 10 schools, and then we had also made a list of like, do we want a big school, a small school? Like, do we care about if we have 300 people in our class, or do we want only 20 people in a class size? Do we want it in a big city? How far away from home do we want it? Like I had set boundaries from North Carolina to Texas because I don't like cold and I don't know how to deal with snow. So I didn't want to go all the way up to Washington. I had set boundaries for myself of like how far I wanted to go from home, and just narrowed down like the schools that I wanted to visit, the camps that I wanted to go to from there. So there's definitely a lot of factors. I would also say, watch how the players interact at camps. I think it's really great when players treat not only the coaches with respect, but the campers as well. Like if they're just kind of there checking a box, or if they really want to buy into you and get to know you, or get to grow your game. You can really see a lot by talking to the players, like how they respect their coaches, what they talk about with their teammates. Like you can tell with the vibes at a camp too, because a lot of players usually work them. So I think that was a big teller for me is coming to the team clinic. I remember everyone was just cracking it up, making jokes, like having fun, like pitchers were running bases, like they just made it such a fun environment. And I knew it was just so unique, so real from that. So I think that's like all really important. There's so many factors that go into schools, but I would definitely like recommend making a list of what you want. I had teammates that didn't want the 300 class size. I didn't really care either way. But I had teammates that wanted a very personalized like lecture room. They wanted 10,000 students at a college instead of 40,000. So I think like really sitting down and thinking about what you want is important in the recruiting process.
Very good. And you guys kind of hit on the rest of this, but my also just an ad lib in here is with the decision that you guys made, and all three of you are very successful. I didn't really check freshman year, but I mean, you know, from awards and honors, what have you. Did you guys, was it an easy road transition from that, you know, high school travel team to that freshman year in college, as far as being able to step in and play and have some success? And did you have other offers? It sounded like you guys all kind of knew like this was the place you wanted to be, but did you have other options that you had kind of had to fret over a little bit, or? Hannah?
Okay, I'll go. I didn't know if anyone else was gonna go. Yeah, so starting off from just the offer process, I knew that if I did get offered by Arkansas, that that's where I was going. So I really had my mind made up. But I, you know, like Mudge was talking about, I didn't know if I was going to be able to play at the Power 5 level. You know, I was offered by a smaller D1 school. And so I think a lot of times it's like people think that that's the goal, is to get to the Power 5 level. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that, you know, it depends on everyone's process and what everyone wants. So I think that's important too, is like, it's not all about Power 5. You know, whether your process is NAIA, D2, D3, D1, Power 5, like it doesn't matter. It's like what you want in your life and what you want to pursue. But off my soapbox. I did have a couple other offers. I think that when I came in as a freshman, I think it was really it was just like the process of being away from home, I think, was the hardest. I think, you know, the upperclassmen and the coaches do a great job of, at least at Arkansas, and I would assume everyone everywhere else, but do a great job of kind of getting you accustomed to what the standard is and like what we do. So you know, I think at first it's like, how do you balance between school and softball? And it's like, well, like it becomes normal because you don't really have a choice. Like you go to softball during the day in the morning, and then you go to class in the afternoon or practice or vice versa or whatever. And so I think that that's overworked a little, and people are like, well, is school harder in college? And personally, with my major, I don't think so. I think, you know, they get you accustomed. I think the first semester is really important as a freshman. I think that's your hardest semester. In the fall, I think once you get accustomed and once you start just making relationships, being away from home is hard in general, but once you start making the relationships and you're just so busy, you really don't have time to think about anything else. So that's my thing. I think I had a lot of great upperclassmen that really helped me a lot and just made me feel comfortable. So.
And Hannah, I again, I didn't go deep enough into your background of that. Were you able to get some, did you start as a freshman or get some, you know, you did? Okay.
Yes, I did
Nope.
start as a freshman. I broke my hand about a month and a half in, and it was like a 3 week, I was out 3 weeks, but then I came back. Yes, I did start. I think that coming in, I didn't even think that I would ever see the field, which was really
Wow.
crazy. I think especially like seeing where I am now and like how far I've come. But yeah, I think that was the biggest thing, is like, you know, if you believe in yourself, that's the only thing that matters. Because it's like, I told my mom, whether I believed it or not, I told my mom, you know, that was during COVID and when we had freaking 30 people on the team. I was like, no way, mom. I'm starting as a freshman. I'm getting up there and I'm doing it. And whether I believe that or not at the time, I think that was the most important thing, is it happens. And it can happen either way. So yeah.
Very cool. Good. Mudge, Eddie?
I can go. So yeah, I was offered by one smaller D1 school, and then Florida State was right after that. And I knew like Florida State was the place that I wanted to go. So I didn't get a multitude of offers. Going into college, freshmen, I always tell our freshmen, like freshman fall is just the hardest. Like it's just, especially for me as a homebody and never moved away from home before, like never moved in my life, like moving to a new city, being with roommates for the first time, new classes, new town, like new team, new everything. Like it's just a lot of change. And for someone that loves having a set routine, it was really hard for me. And the upperclassmen really did help me through it. I mean, there was always a joke that one of them would tell me is they were like, my freshman fall, I ate a pint of ice cream every night. Like there were just so many people that on the team that were like, freshman fall is just hard. Like it's just hard to get used to. It's hard to get in the new routine. You're being thrown at a lot of stuff with softball and school and really being challenged with a new life almost. And obviously being on your own too is tough. But I always tell the freshmen, like the freshman fall is just hard, but like you get through it and you get to put the jersey on for the first time and it's just the best feeling. I did not start as a freshman. Didn't even really start as a sophomore. I had a couple starts, but I mostly went in the 5th or 6th inning and played some defense. Got a few at bats here and there, but so when I came in, I had some people in my past that had just kind of I just believed them when they said I was going to be a base runner at Florida State. Like I knew I was good running bases. I knew I was still a little small, crafty kid. And obviously in college, like home run power is what a lot of people like to focus on. And so I came in with the notion that I thought I was just going to be a pinch runner. And I remember having a meeting with the coaches in the mid fall of my freshman year. And they asked me like what I thought my role was on the team. And I said a base runner. And they were like, Mudge, you're going to be so much more than a base runner. And I just think having coaches that believe in you and are super honest about your role and like what they see you to be and your potential, coaches that believe in you when you might not believe in yourself. Like I had just such low confidence as a freshman. I did not believe in myself. I was just happy to be one of 22 on the team, like whatever my role was. And I remember like, I'll remember that meeting forever because it totally changed my mindset of like, I was always a hard worker, but I worked like 2-3 times harder than I ever did after that because I realized like I have coaches that believe in me, that want to help me, that want me to be like a starter here one day, that really wanted like invest in me and not just like throw me to the side as just one of the 22, but they invested in every single teammate that I've had, they invest in. And I think that was a huge moment for me in my freshman fall. So I didn't really start until the postseason of 2021. That was when I really kind of had the light bulb moment that clicked for me, just with my swing, with my outfield, like with my entire game. So I started pretty much every game in the postseason of 2021 and then became a full-time starter that next season. So definitely took a lot of work. It's also really hard to compete for positions. I never had that on travel ball. So it's definitely a transition coming into that, like learning how to compete for a position with 4 or 5 other outfielders or 5 other people at your position is definitely tough too. But I think really having coaches that want to invest in you and like make you a better softball player and person, definitely I chose the right program for me because they had just had my back when I might not have believed in myself as much.
She also
And-
went 5 for 5 in the World Series.
I was going to say, how many World
5
Series?
for 5. 5
Yeah.
for 5.
That
Just
first
5,
year?
just 5 for 5. Nothing.
That
That's
21
pretty
year?
legit. Okay.
And how many World Series have you been in, Mudge?
I've been in 2. Been in 2
Two.
World Series, 2 national championships.
Is this the year you guys can go over the
I
top?
hope so. Last year, best year, isn't that the saying, right? Hopefully, I mean, obviously that's the goal. Week 2 in season is tough to see that ending, obviously, like just we have so much season ahead of us, but that's always the goal. I just got asked that question a couple days ago, like what it would mean to end my career there. It would mean obviously the world to go back to the World Series one more time. But that was where my career pretty much started, and I would love to end it there too. So I guess we'll find out.
Cool. And Addie, the the power hitters setting home run records.
Yeah, I guess. So Wichita State was really my only offer. And, I feel like I was just kind of oblivious to the recruiting process. So I just kind of was like, like I just feel like it's the right fit for me. So right after that offer, I just took it. And as a freshman, it was really hard for our class because, we were going through COVID and everything was different. You couldn't be in groups more than 10 and you couldn't go home because of all these situations. So it was definitely very hard for me to settle into because I'm such a homebody. I've never had to drive 3.5 hours to my home and, not being able to go there. It was really tough because I don't know, the pace of everything is just kind of quicker. But your upperclassmen, they'll always have your back. And I think that was huge for me because there would be days where, as a freshman, where I was practicing, I was just kind of a little anxiety ball. Like I was running around and I was like, I don't even know what's going on. But, just reminding yourself that you're recruited there for a reason and the coaches, want you there and, they brought you to the program for a reason is really cool. And, Wichita State is known as a mid-major, but just coming into a year where they did have a lot of experience, I never really expected to start. I was like, Mom, I'm going to have to be a base runner too. And I'm going to have to just play my role and this year and maybe next year I'll get my shot. And then, we had some circumstances happen. We had some injuries in the first game of the season. My coach was like, all right, you're starting at second base. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? My mom called me after. She's like, Addie, you never told us that you were going to play. Like we weren't really watching. And I was like, I really thought that I was not going to play. So just having the advantage to, have so much experience under your belt and kind of get thrown into the fire right away has been awesome. I just feel like Wichita State, we started as a mid-major, not really making it to a lot of postseason play. And from my freshman year to now, it's almost like, regionals is that standard and even further than that, which has been really cool. Just being able to see the growth in our program and to be a part of that has been amazing.
Who's going to win the game when you play Hannah's team?
I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a dogfight.
Cool. Have you guys played each other before? Last year?
Yeah, we played, let's see, I think we played the past 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mudge, have you played them? Arkansas?
We played Arkansas last year in Clearwater.
Okay.
I think and then my true freshman year, we played at Arkansas in a tournament, but that was before COVID. That was 2020.
All right. So you guys meet on the field. All right. We are going to shift gears here and we're going to let Dayton talk about this CSE, College Sports Evaluation.
Yeah, hey everybody, my name is Dayton Williams. My job at CSE is I'm a college consultant. So when colleges get data in that they don't really know what it means, or they need more clarity, or they need to gain insights on how they can better their team using data, my job is to help them with that. So I'm gonna try to keep this short and sweet so we can get back to our NIL partners and their stories as well. But from the top level down, CSE is a data collection company and data analytics company. So we test athletes in high school and college all around the country. And we do a thing, we call it collecting norms. So in every college level, we know norms of just about every data point we can collect now. So when we test our high school athletes, we can help place them in a spot that they're going to be most successful in, because we see it all the time where a kid out of high school goes into a level that's too low for them, and then they'll want to transfer out and to go to a higher level, or vice versa, where they're put into a position where maybe they're not in a position to be successful, and they'd be more successful and maybe happier in a different level of and different level of college softball. So we test our high school kids all over the country, and when we do so, their data goes into our what we call our college coach portal. So coaches from anywhere can go in and see different data points, things that they're looking at. Because each coach, they have a little something different that they want to look at. Some coaches don't know what to look for. Some coaches know exactly what they're looking for. So kind of everything in the softball data world is what we have our hands in right now, and we're growing and learning with our college, with our colleges that we're working with. It's been a really good relationship with a lot of them, where we're learning a lot from them and they're learning a lot from us. So we're just trying to better the game using data. We're seeing it in Major League Baseball. That's happening everywhere. So we know that it's available in softball as well. So that's kind of the road we're going down. And yeah, go ahead if you guys
Yeah.
want, if you're interested. This QR code will take you to our events. We're partnered with most Triple Crown softball events. So if you guys are going to be at 4th of July this summer, or Zoom into June, or Myrtle Beach, we'll be there. Love to get you tested and help out, trying to see where a good starting point is to start looking at colleges. The girls talked about, being at different levels and the recruiting process. And we know that's a really difficult process to go through. And there are tons of schools from Division I, Division II, Division III, JUCO, NAIA. It's almost impossible to start. So our goal is to just help narrow the field a little bit, whether that be high Division I, or if we're looking at JUCO, NAIA, D3, D2, whatever the case is. We just want to help start narrowing the search and maybe give a good place to start looking. And that's kind of CSE as a whole there.
Great. And so you, like you were saying too, Dayton, you do current college players? Like if they're
Right.
looking to transfer and things like that too? I know that's been a big topic, the transfer portal. And
Yeah, so we collect a lot of data. We use the NCAA website for game stats, and we use a few different mathematical equations that we use in-house, and we're able to rank every player in the country. So every player that enters a transfer portal, we have ranked for coaches, which is we found to be super helpful for them. So
right.
How the transfer portal works on the college side is, though, it's just a website with names and school they last attended. It's really hard to search through, so we help clean it up a little bit and give them some data that they can go off of, so it's not just a random click through of names. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So here's the website, and I will follow this up to you guys that are on here, but or scan the QR code to learn more about those opportunities there. Super. Thanks, Dayton.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So then this last part, just, a few minutes on this is just off the field. How do you manage your time? What's a typical work week? And even, there's a lot of things you guys juggle, right? Classes, homework, training, travel, games. Do you have any free time, family time? So you can answer one of those, all of them, however you would like here. So who wants to lead off here?
I'll go. Okay, so for me, I kind of am involved with a few different things. So I'm involved with a community group from my church on Wednesday nights most of the time, while also like kind of on Sundays. So that's something that is kind of super important to me. I would say you do have free time. It seems as if you don't. But you do. So there is a lot of free time. I also give lessons most nights too. So that has kind of like not had my schedule as freed up as it normally is. But I'm actually in all online classes this semester. I do that on purpose I'm sorry, my dog is acting a fool. I do that on purpose just so I'm fully able to be present with softball. And because I'm a senior, I have that time. So pretty much during season, what a typical week looks like.
Mondays and Tuesdays, like Monday we had an off day because we played this weekend in Arizona. And so Tuesday we left at 7 in the morning. And then we have hitting groups around anywhere from 9 to 12, whatever time the group is. Mine was at 12:10 today, and then we have practice from 1:30 to 4. And then Tuesday we do the same thing, and then or Tuesday and Wednesday we do the same thing, and then Thursday is most of the time when we play, but we just are prepping. I actually love being in season and having game weeks, not only just to play, but you know, you get to sleep in on Thursdays and Fridays. So it becomes fun just to look forward to the game, and it's just nice and free. Most of the time, I pride myself in getting my homework done before Wednesdays because I want my focus to completely be on softball, and especially if I can keep from having to deal with any type of school stuff, I will. So really on the balancing classes and training, travel, games, free time, I think time management is super important. So knowing that if you're going to travel on Thursday or Friday and you get your homework on Sunday, get it done on Monday or get it done before you leave so that you are able to like not have that weighing on you while you're playing. I also think classes, that's really just making sure that you know you're getting your stuff turned in on time, you're asking questions, and then training wise, just taking care of your body is really important, even right now before you get to college, nutrition, all that type of stuff. So yep.
And Hannah, did you have some of those habits built in before you got to college, or were these some of the things that you had maybe, you know, getting your homework done ahead of time and nutrition awareness?
Yeah, I did not take nutrition seriously actually until I got to college. And homework wise, I procrastinated. I waited till the last second. So having a planner, having that stuff is super important. And also whenever you get to college, like you have a nutritionist, you have all of the resources available to you. I think before, at least for me, you know, I grew up in a small town. We didn't even lift weights. So like I really didn't even like lift until my senior year whenever I was actually after I'd been recruited. So I would say take advantage of the resources that you have when you get to college because it's not always going to be there. So
Good. Mudge, Addie?
For us, Mondays are also our off days. Outside of this weekend, we actually play
And Mudge, just
tournament.
explain what is the limit for practice and off days and all that? What's the rule?
So for us, like off day is real off day. So like they can offer like optional stuff. So like there'll be like an optional regen group just if people want to go in and like roll out, stretch around, just kind of do some band work with their bodies. Um and then we'll have like massages for I think there's like 12 slots, so our coach decides like who has the massages just based on like playing loads. Um, but yeah, off days are like real off days. We're not allowed to have any like coordinated practices, coordinated lifts and stuff. Everything has to be optional. You can choose to like if I maybe don't hit well one weekend, like I can choose to hit with my coach if I want to, but usually they like us to keep our off days as real off days just because the span of a 56 to 60 to 70 game season is a lot on our bodies. So, and we only usually get one off day a week. So, yeah, our off days are usually real off days. Sorry, my dog is choosing that it's playtime now.
You got a dog too? Okay.
I do.
That's
She's
your
got some energy.
balance, you guys, with all the other things you got to have some
furry friends.
Yeah.
So we are off day Monday. Outside of this weekend, we play a home tournament Thursday through Saturday. So since we don't play Sunday will be our off day. We also have a travel trip next week. That's pretty early in the week. So we'll probably practice Monday. But outside of this week, we're usually off Monday. Tuesday, we will have lift groups around 9:30 and 11:30. And they'll put us in specific groups based on class time. And then I personally have rehab. I actually got surgery in the fall, so I've been doing rehab for the past 4 months for that, just trying to get back to playing and gaining the span of a 5-game weekend and like trying to build up that stamina again. So I have rehab right after lift, and then we have practice around 2:30 to 5:30ish, just depending. We usually have team meetings on Tuesday just to talk about our opponents for the weekend. Usually debrief the last weekend of tournament play. Just go over like anything we need to as a team, and then we'll have practice, and then we'll be done for the day. So we'll have that Tuesday. Wednesday we don't have lift, and then Thursday we'll lift if we don't have games. So we play tomorrow, so we won't. There's an optional lift if people want to go. Some people like to lift on game days on our team, so it's open space for them, but we usually don't. It's not a required lift on game days. So usually it's a lift Tuesday, Thursday, and then we'll play Friday through Sunday, outside of February and the beginning of March. So we really pride ourselves on sleep. Our coach has really dove into the data just of sleep and recovery with our bodies. So we have earlier mornings in the fall, but once we get to spring, they like to try and push our lift times a little bit later so we can get our sleep, especially when we have midweek games and stuff like that coming up. Really just trying to sleep in our own beds and recover our bodies through the week. So we have lifts a little bit later than we would in the fall. Balance wise, I know for our classes, we usually like to put a heavier load in the fall. So we'll have maybe like 16, 17 credits in the fall, and then maybe like 12 to 14 in the spring, just to take a little bit less load with all the traveling. Really being upfront with professors is something that has led to a lot of success in my classes, is just being really upfront with them on when I'm missing class, if they take attendance, when I'm missing a quiz or a test, how to make that up. Just really creating that open communication on the forefront, because in college, professors aren't going to track you down to try and make something up. So it's really on you. So really having that open communication with professors. January is when I really try to work as much ahead as I can, because like Hannah said, I don't like to do homework on softball weekends. I like to just be about the softball game. So I usually try to get my homework done early throughout the week or work ahead a couple weeks early, so that I don't have to worry about it after a game, or if we're traveling. I don't like to do any schoolwork if I don't have to on that. So really just trying to front load my weeks and front load the season too. If I can work ahead, I'll work ahead, just so I don't get into a moment where I procrastinate, or maybe I have a long game and I forget about doing an assignment. But our advisor works really well with us. She'll send us like assignment lists for every weekend, just to know what we have due and stuff. So she's really helpful on that end. But definitely agree with Hannah, like having a planner is huge. Time management. As someone who doesn't like to procrastinate, I like to just front load the weeks and get the stuff done. So
Cool. Hey, Addie, if you would just switch it up a little bit and just talk about like the year. They both talk similar about what in season, like, your days are, but like you guys are pretty much all year round, right? Softball. So just talk about the differences, maybe time wise.
Yeah, so usually we come back early before school, starting in the fall. And like they've said, we do try to have a heavier and harder class schedule in the fall. Let's see, you do start out with lesser hours in the fall, so you're only able to do maybe like individual work. And once you get a few weeks into the school, then the time frame will switch where you can have like 20-hour weeks, where you start to have like team practices and that kind of stuff. And then towards the end of fall, usually you will have like 8 or 9 games. Usually we just play like around our area, and then a couple bigger games, just to get us ready to go into break. And then after the fall, You go home for Christmas break and that stuff. And, it might seem like a break for a lot of people, but us softball players, we do have to keep swinging the bat and throwing and all that good stuff, and with weights and conditioning as well. Our new weights coach, he really likes us to lift a lot and a lot of weight. So, they know when you don't do stuff over break. So it's really, you have to be very self-motivated. And, when you go home, maybe have like somebody else that's pushing you and making you go to the gym every day and make sure you get your cuts in. That's really important, because if you don't, the coaches will know, and, they'll take that into account, maybe when they're writing the lineup. So that's very important too. But also, like, a few days within the break too, it's okay to, take a step back and spend time with family. And then after Christmas, later on, we come back and we get usually a week to settle back in with classes. And then we're right off the bat, start team practices, getting straight into it, going to class. Usually, most of the people on my team, they do have lighter class loads, maybe have a different major than I do. But so this year, I only had one class that I needed to do to complete my prereqs for nursing school, and that's physiology, but it still takes up, 4 or 5 days out of my week. So this semester, Monday, Wednesdays, I have a very busy schedule, and usually Mondays are off days, which helps because I usually go to class in the middle of the day, practice, and then back to class afterwards. So yeah, I mean, all year round, it's pretty much you're just going full swing. But in the spring, travel can be a lot, and it's a lot different pace. You're every year, one year might be, you have a lot of home games. The next might be, we're going to be on the road a lot. And that's our case this year. So, we're just been traveling a lot. And it is just really important to keep up on your schoolwork and to make sure that your professors, know what you're going through and your schedule, just so you don't fall behind. I think it's really important to also, work on your mental health too. Realizing that it's okay to take a step back sometimes is hard, because, sometimes you feel like you have to be going 100% softball all the time. But sometimes the best thing is taking 2 days off, the whole, just not swinging a bat at all, and rejuvenating the next day. And our team, actually, we meet with a sports psychologist every week as a team, just to make sure we're okay mentally and how to get through, tough times, because we do play a game of failure more than, you fail a lot more than you are able to succeed. So just looking at that perspective is really important for us too, just because, physically you might feel okay, but mentally it's a lot, and it's okay to admit it and talk to somebody about it as well. So, just taking a day, maybe getting a pedicure, or just taking a step back is okay.
Or playing with those furry friends, Hannah and Mudge, right? They can be, that's awesome. You all have given some great different tips and just how your journeys have been. I don't know if anybody has any questions. You guys could type in, but I appreciate your time here and sharing your journeys. But if anybody would have a quick question, and if you also take that survey there, or any last